Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening.
Well, it's lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's a joy.
OK, let's start with this. I didn't know you had such an exotic name. Boris Johnson, we all know. The middle... Wow, the full name. Can I share this with everyone? Are you ready for this?
You can.
Alexander Boris de Pfeffel. De Pfeffel.
De Pfeffel. It's my grandmother.
What a great name.
My grandmother.
De Pfeffel.
De Pfeffel.
Is that how you... De Pfeffel? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, nobody... Well, no, we don't know exactly how it's meant to be pronounced. That's how my grandmother wanted it pronounced.
Where is the Pfeffel? Where is the... Where
basically, she was basically French, though it turned out she was also German as well.
She sounds like a bit of a player.
Because she came from one of those... Her family came from one of those areas that was contested between France and Germany.
Like Alsace-Lorraine?
That's the one.
Wow.
And so from Colmar, in fact.
De Pfeffel.
De Pfeffel. And so she might have been von Pfeffel.
Well, it does make it harder.
But anyway, there you go.
Well, thanks for coming, ladies and gentlemen. OK.
Shall I go now?
No, sit down. Hey, but James, you've got quite an unusual middle name as well, haven't you?
I do. My middle name is Kimberly.
It is.
True story. James Kimberly Corden. It's my dad's middle name. My granddad's middle name. His.
Well, that's lovely. It goes right back.
Yeah.
Kimberly,
yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Tough at school, I'll be honest. I've embraced it now.
Well, you think you had problems? He was De Pfeffel.
Steady on, old cock.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to go full public school.
Are you going full posh?
Come on.
Bloody hell, old Ben.
Yeah. Knock it on.
Out of bloody order, old bud.
Out of order. Yeah. Knock it on there. That's right.
Yeah, come on. Let's get back to the bloody thing in hand. Let's get here and sell some fucking books.
I feel well and truly told now.
I'm delighted that James has got the... He seized the steering wheel.
Bloody Bullingdon boys.
Exactly right.
That's right.
Boys.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, did you travel...
Steady on, old bro. Come on now.
No one wants to see the full Christmas lunch this early. How are your lines? How are your opening lines with women? How are they...
Terrible.
OK, well, look, we have many beautiful women in the green room this evening. Let's give you a chance to try a couple. And one's a judge, anyway. They can maybe give you an assessment of it. Well, look, do you want to start?
Well, I don't have any lines, but when I was researching the show, I tweeted for people to tweet me lines, and I now keep an archive of them.
OK.
For just this eventuality. These are not mine. These are people have sent me these in.
So, ladies, if you react just as if Stephen has come up to you in a party or a bar, and this is the opening salvo, and let us know how this works. Who's this first one for, Stephen?
Hello, ladies.
Hi.
What's up? Hey, looking good. Saw you on the X Factor, Nicole.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Jesus, that was enthusiastic. You know that I'm not actually hitting on you. This is the first one. Nicole, here I am. What are your other two wishes?
All right. You like that, Nicole? It's like...
Excuse me, who are you?
It's a joke, it's a joke.
Forget you, I'll talk to your more beautiful friend in the middle.
OK. OK, this is getting tense. All right, this one's for
What's he
Naomi.
going to say to me?
Naomi.
Yes.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
How you doing?
The word of the week is legs. Let's go back to mine and spread the word.
I find that extremely vulgar.
Oh, come on, that was dynamite! That was killer stuff!
Well, thank you, ladies. But you do hear people do have these terrible...
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's amazing how many of them are creepy. There was one guy sent me one that was, here's 10p, call your mum and tell her the ransom is £50,000.
America haven't come calling. It's not something that worries me.
But have you tried? Do you want to go there? They would get you, wouldn't they? They would understand you. And your stuff's pretty universal, I feel.
You say they'd understand me. The thing about Americans that I've thought about the language is that they say they speak English, but they've had to change it to make them understand it more. Go with me on this, because I've thought it through. They've changed some of the words. So they've taken the English language, but they've looked at some of it and they thought, no, I think we need a little bit more explanation here, OK? That's my American accent. So things like pavement. So they can't work with pavement, so they've changed it to sidewalk.
Yeah.
They needed more information. They needed to know where they were going to be walking so that they wouldn't get run over.
So that's... I didn't think of that.
Pavement, sidewalk. So I think there must have been a period of time where they ran with the word pavement, but they kept getting hit by cars. So they changed it to sidewalk. Now, bear with me here, John, because I've thought this through.
Yes.
Bin, the word for bin. In American, waste paper basket. They needed to know not only what to put in it, they needed to know that not only it was paper, but waste paper, and then it goes into a basket. It's not just any paper. They kept throwing away fresh paper for a period before they introduced the word waste paper basket. You see, it's like they need instructions. Glasses for your eyes, they call them eyeglasses. They needed to know where to put them on their face. Because they used to have glasses and they would put them on their thighs and they would put them on their feet and they would say, I can't see any better with the glasses. And then somebody went, no, they're eyeglasses. Well, why didn't you call them eyeglasses? There's a game called squash. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Not in America. Racquetball. They needed... It's a true story. They needed to know what they were going to be playing with, a racquetball, and even then they get confused because there's no court. They don't know where to go. They just wander through the street going, I want to play racquetball, I want to play racquetball. So they're probably going to have to change that. But my favourite one, without a shadow of a doubt, is horse riding. Do you know what horse riding is in America?
Is it not called horse riding?
No. Horseback riding. They had to specify the area of the horse.
Well, yes.
There were terrible problems because there was a period of time when they didn't call it horseback riding.
Where did they go?
They used to hold on to the tail and then...
Are you sure this is how they ride the horses in Europe?
That's a whole different thing you're doing there, I think, with the horse.
Anybody who's watching this show who may have been flicking the channels, that's not a moment you want No. This was a story about American and descriptive words.
Is it true, and I can ask both of you, I'm pretty sure I know Stephen's answer, but the paranormal, ghosts, the supernatural, I believe there, on one of your tours, you got so frightened by ghost stories, you couldn't sleep.
Yeah, I've got a bit of history. I don't like the dark.
What?
No. Whoa!
Oh, what are you sleeping?
Huh?
If you say you got a nightlight, I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna punch you right now. If you tell me...
I wouldn't do that.
If you tell me that your big ass sleeps with a nightlight...
So ghosts, though, you believe in ghosts? You've seen a ghost? You've heard of ghosts?
I didn't like the dark, and then I was in Zimbabwe on one of the tours, and one of the lads was, like, telling ghost stories. I didn't like it. Seriously, I ended up, my mate Rob Key, he's like quite a portly fellow, he's not the most attractive, but I ended up sleeping with him because I was frightened. It was the worst thing ever, because I was quite a big lad, he was a big lad, and we was in a single bed and I was spooning him all night. And then the next day, we slept in because I couldn't sleep. Yeah. And I turned up...
Well, so even though you had him for comfort, still, the fear of the supernatural...
I couldn't let go of him.
You couldn't let go.
And then the next day we had a test match, and I turned up quarter of an hour late and got fined because I'd missed quarter of an hour, so it cost me about £2,000.
That must have been some ghost story.
And my respectability, yeah.
I'm picturing somebody telling the ghost story, and Freddie like, that's enough.
Yeah. The worst thing is that the lad who told the ghost story, he got fined as well for telling, like, a 25-year-old man a ghost story. It was just wrong on every level.
You're gonna get fined too, Marcus. You know Freddie's scared of ghosts. Why would you do that to Freddie? Don't nobody believe in ghosts. You know Freddie think ghosts are real.
You have the Southern Irish
Yes.
accent, so is it easier for you to do a Northern Irish than it would be for me or John, do you think, or is it even tricky?
Yes. Can you do accents?
Oh, yes, I can. John, do you hear that? That's the Northern
No, it's
Ireland.
great. You're great. You should do movies as well.
Oh, Jesus. And
Oh, a wild to wugged walks to wugged west.
Now, hang on. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about foreign bodies. You just filmed that in Malaysia? Were you filming in Malaysia?
Yeah, so this is Tom Basden, who's a wonderful stand-up and writer as well. He wrote Plebs. He's done a new show for E4 here, and then I think it's TNT in the States. And it's all about a group of gap year students. So I was like a sort of weirdo they came across on their travels. Very, very tough role to get into. And we were out in Malaysia for a whole month, and it was unbelievable to be out there. But I'm not genetically made to be in the jungle. Like, it's the wrong... I'm like as Irish as a stone. There's nothing... And, like, the pores are too small to let air in or out, so I was just constantly sweating. Because it's Kuala Lumpur is in a city built in the jungle. So it's just, I was... Like, even people would go to shake my hand, and I'm like, no, fist bump, please don't. And then you'd be like... And they'd be looking at their hands going, did she just hand me ham? I feel like I should have ham in my... I'm like, I'm the ham. I am ham. We did this one scene where it was like a sexy scene, and I was a bit nervous about it. And at first I thought I was going to have to get my wops out. But
But you lost one.
But well, one had exploded. So I didn't nervous about it, because I'm a method actor as well, so... But instead they put me in like this sort of synthetic negligee. And we were in this, and God love the other actor, Tristan Gravel. He had to be naked, so he had like a little sock on his lad, as we'd say in our... His lad, it would be the Irish for a punis. We were there in this sweaty room with like 9 men. That wasn't what was happening in the scene.
Some scene you were playing there.
I know. I painted it darker than it was. Yeah. But there was like the cameraman and the first AD and everyone, and then they had to turn off the aircon in this little hotel because it was making too much buzzing on the sound. And the heat, I mean, it was like we were all creating rain with our own bodies. And the woman who's doing costume didn't speak much English, and she was just like a bit loud, like that sort of, you know, when someone pretends to whisper in a house, like she did that, and she came over to me and she's like, your boobs making water on dress. And I was like, I need to keep it down a bit. And she's like, cotton wool, and I was like, you want me to put cotton... Oh, God, so I had to put cotton wool underneath my boobs. And it stayed there, which is that famous test of age. It was like...
Well done.
And then, so we went on with the scene. I was feeling a bit undignified, and we were sort of being a bit sexy. And then she came back and was like, now you're back. And I was like, oh, my back's sweaty. She's like, no, further down. Do you mean my ass crack? Yes, ass crack! Everyone was kind of looking around, and I had to put cotton wool down the middle, and then eventually she just got a hairdryer and cold settings. And I was like, I don't feel sexy anymore.
So did you have a lot of time off? Did you get to enjoy... I've never been to Malaysia. Did you get to enjoy it socially?
Yeah, we did. We'd loads of time off, and we put on a few gigs while we were out there, so we did some stand-up while we were there, and it was amazing to see, like, the equivalent of... Because stand-up's relatively new there. It's kind of about 10 years old, and the clubs are all about 10 years old. And it's amazing to see... There's a big Chinese Malaysian community as well. And it was amazing to see their version of... What's the deal with aeroplane food? Because, which is like kind of like really hacked stand-up. Yeah. They'd be like, oh my God, you know what it's like when you've got a big exam and your mother goes and leaves a chicken at the temple, and people are like, oh my God, I know what that's like. And it was just amazing to be, and it was like, again, you make a little community. Like I was talking with John earlier on, that like in LA, like you make a little community for yourself at stand-up, and you meet people around the world. And so now I've got loads of like Malaysian pals and like stand-up pals there. It was great.
And are you can I ask you, you're single, I believe, aren't you? Were you dating out there?
I'm not going to go out with you, Jonathan. Whoa. I thought I was on this show by merit, and that's not going to happen.
Okay, well then, fine. Okay.
Can I ask something?
Yes, I will go out with you, John Malcolm.
Can I ask? How does the chicken at the temple joke end?
The problem with it wasn't even a great gag. It was just like, hey guys, you know what it's like when you walk and you fall over and people are like, ah! They don't even need like, I don't know what that's like. Like, sometimes people don't need an in-hand gag. John, you know, I haven't done it.
I wouldn't make it.
See, but you thought this was old material. This is the best joke he's ever had.
That's all he's ever had.
Yeah. Do you have anything like that? What kind of things do you request backstage?
I have tea, water, and I take my own kettle. Because I saw someone poo in a kettle once.
Oh, okay.
Never quite got over it.
Hold it. Where were you when someone pooed in a kettle? I mean,
It wasn't me.
Because
Grace, no one thought it was you until you said that.
it wasn't an accusation. I saw someone poo in a kettle. No, I think we were at a comedy club, and we were at a comedy club, and often when you're at comedy clubs, you get like a sort of dressing room, but it's not really a dressing room. This is back in the early days, and there was nowhere to go.
Grace is still remembering the time she pooed in a kettle.
The key is to not then put it on.
Yeah.
If you just leave it and go, it's fine. But if you put it on, suddenly
awful.
people are like... And I heard other people have been sick in kettles and things.
So you take your own one.
So I
That
take
now
my
makes
own
sense.
kettle, yeah. And so, because I might need a shit, you know.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's the type of photo that you see if I'd gone missing, and then the caption underneath says, "He wasn't a popular boy."
But then you develop this love of hip-hop. You're a big, massive hip-hop fan.
I am, yeah.
And so, were there other hip-hop fans in Crawley? Were there a lot of you, or did you form a small group of hip-hop enthusiasts?
We tried to form a little... There's like 3 of us that were into hip-hop, and we started trying to form a band. We formed a little rap crew.
What was the name of your crew?
First Conviction. And my MC name was Ranger, the Lazy-Eyed Assassin. And we would... It's a kid out of Crawley just trying to make his way. All right.
I'm not going to ask you to spit any bars.
Yeah.
But I am going to ask you, what were the titles of the self-penned... were they raps or were they songs? What did you create?
I sort of just did, I did one called Rotten Like Dot Cotton.
Surprisingly not here. Rotten Lap Dot Cotton. Come on, give us a verse from that.
Go on, give us a verse.
How did that begin?
You've got to.
I come rotten, like smacking dot cotton on the bottom. My style is super memorable, your style is soon forgotten. It's not on, I rock on. Any track I drop on. Scary like a prisoner, about to strap his cock on.
I think a hit. Bring that out now, that's a hit. Since you last came on the show...
Yes.
You've had a new baby.
I've got a 9-month-old baby.
Well, that's a lovely thing.
Nice, isn't it?
OK, so how are you finding father? Because you've already got one, haven't you?
No, it's the first one.
Wow, they didn't tell you about the other one?
No, they didn't tell me. It's really hard, isn't it? It's really hard. And I don't think I should be in charge of a kid.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm responsible enough. Let me tell you this. You tell me if you think I should be in charge of a kid, right? OK. Basically, I've been getting back into talcum powder.
Hold it. What does that mean?
You know baby powder, talc?
You like using it on yourself?
Yeah, do you talc?
I do talc a bit.
It's good, isn't it?
What? You talc?
Well, I tell you...
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah, I go through phases, obviously.
What?
Look,
you guys,
if he talc...
what the hell is this?
Well, honestly, right?
Confidence for babies.
No, yeah, that's what I thought. But I've been getting out the shower, one puff on the front, one puff on the back. I feel like a new man.
Yeah.
One puff on the front, one puff on the back.
Yeah,
you slip the pants on. You feel like you're incredible. You're floating around the world. It's like I feel like it's the first time I got Reebok Classics. I'm just floating through life. But I had a bit of an incident where I've one puffed the front, went to one puff the back, triple puffed it.
Oh.
I got myself in a situation, and talc had gone in. And the rule with talc is always on, never in.
Never in.
Oh, no.
So I thought, oh, my God, what am I going to do? I laughed, it was out of me.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I thought, stage 1 complete.
Yeah.
But then I'm left with a little pile of, powder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? She's coming home soon. I'm going to, I've got to clear this up.
Yeah.
So I got on the floor and rolled in it.
Wow, so you didn't want to waste it?
No, I rolled in it and I thought, well, I've got some of it up, so then there was still a bit more, so I slapped the carpet. Then I walk in through it and I've got most of it up, and I thought, oh, I've got most of it up now. It's a little circle, and I thought, I'll just rub it every time I walk past, and eventually it'll go.
Yeah.
She comes home and goes, what's this on the floor? I said, I've been talking, I've been one puffing, but I triple puffed it. Before I know it, it's on the floor. I've rolled in it, I've slapped it, but now I've still got a circle of it. I've done all I can, that's just our floor now. And then she said, why didn't you get the Hoover out? And that's the first time my brain thought of Hoover.
Wow.
Now I've got to be in charge of a kid, and my first instinct's rolling it like a dog.
Yeah. You're enjoying fatherhood, though. I bet you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the things people know. You know, it's tiring and there's this new responsibility, but it's a lovely thing.
Oh, I love it. It's really good fun. I'm enjoying it. It's great. It's just it's tiring, isn't it?
It's hardcore, yeah.
Yeah, because you've got 2, haven't you?
I have 2 under 3, yeah.
Okay. And so your youngest is 9 months. Is that
Youngest 7 months.
7 months, and yours is 9 months.
9 months.
Wow. So it's
Play
a similar
date?
age.
Why not, yeah.
Oh.
Never gonna happen, is it? Never gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, just think of the fun you'll have talking each other.
Yeah.
So you are a competent father, though. You feel you're pretty much on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much. I'm in charge of sterilising the bottles.
Okay.
It's just annoying, though, isn't it? Do you sterilise the bottles?
Yeah, but after 6 months, you can almost start to...
Well, that's what I think.
Yeah,
I'm
she
saying
was.
that.
After 6 months.
But she's going, no, you
Machine
don't.
wash.
I'm like, well, sterilising them and the baby's eating the floor. I just spent an hour sterilising. She's on the step.
That's true, that's true.
It's a joke. And she's posh, my kid.
Well, I was going to ask you.
My kid's more posh than me.
Well, she's going to have a different upbringing. Where were you brought up?
South East London.
South East London.
Right. My kid is on avocado and toast. Wow. She's 9 months. I didn't see an avocado till I was 27. It's not right, is it?
Well, it's going to be... do you think there's going to be a gap between you? You think there'll be different...
I'm worried. I'm a bit worried that she's not going to want to know.
Because what about on the baby's
What if
mother's
she don't
side?
like waffles?
Yeah.
Potato smiley faces. Alphabet spaghetti.
Yeah.
She's going, no, that's not for me. I'm on quinoa, whatever it is.
Yeah. I think it's called quinoa.
Whatever you want to call it, mate. I'm not eating it. But the one thing I learned is because it's so busy in it, you never get a break. It's constant 100 miles an hour. One thing I've learned as a new dad, never rush a shit.
Wow.
That is holy time.
And at school, you were the mascot for the sports team.
Yeah, I was a high school mascot. I was a conquistador, so I was a Spanish soldier. So I was an African-American woman playing a Hispanic man. And I did an awesome job at it. I was the only talking mascot in the whole school district. And I would get on the megaphone, and I'd be like, Elko. I went to El Camino Real High School, and I'd be like, Elko, what? And the audience would be like, me, no. And I'd be like, Elko, what? And they'd be like, me, no. Who, no? We know, baby! And then the whole audience would go crazy.
How old were you then?
I was 15.
Wow, I think we've got a picture of you in the... there you go. So
Oh,
that's,
see that?
Oh, my God.
just a baby.
All the boys like me, but just because I had, like, hype energy, but they didn't like me. They
So
just,
you didn't have a boyfriend? You had a husband?
No, I didn't have no
No,
boyfriend.
of course you didn't have a boyfriend. What girl being a mascot got a boyfriend? No.
I had a boyfriend for like 1 month, and he would carry my bag for me, and they would make fun of him and call him the mascot assistant, and he broke up with me because he didn't want to be the mascot assistant.
Wow.
But guess what? He hit me up just recently on Facebook.
Well, there you go. That's...
Are you ready to assist now?
Are you a single woman now? Then are you single?
I'm very single.
Oh, and what do you think of being here in the UK? What do you think of English men?
I feel like it's nothing but opportunity here in the UK. I love the accents. I feel like it's a lot of history. I feel like it's a lot of men here that have inheritances.
Yeah.
I would love to be with a man with an inheritance.
She's way too aggressive. She's way too aggressive.
It's not aggression. I just know
so
what I
aggressive.
want.
It's so aggressive. It's embarrassing. Like,
I'm sorry.
We go out. You know, I'm here with Tiffany. I've been here. I feel like the UK is a second home. We go out to places. I take Tiff to dinner. The first man she sees, she says hello. He says hi back. She goes, "Do you want to have a baby?"
No,
He's like,
I
what?
didn't say that.
Yeah, you do.
I'll ask them. I say, how many baby mamas do you have?
Yeah, that's so fast.
Different question. You must have a lot of bankers in your restaurants, and I'm not using rhyming slang there. But you must meet a lot of these high-end guys. Do you find... Are they sometimes out of control, or do you find them...
Yeah, I mean, I think just before 2008, you know, we had a group of bankers that blew 44,000 at Petrus.
Wow.
Yeah, and the weird thing about that was they had a big collection of wine, so there's 7 or 8 different bottles, and then cheese with like 6 bottles of beer. So why drink all that wine and then finish it with beer? Didn't make sense.
And what? So the wine, how much was that expensive wine a bottle if they got through that amount of cash?
Oh, 1970 Petrus, Latour, these things were in sort of £9,000 to £15,000 a bottle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think when you've got 3 or 4 different blends, it spoils the nice ones. So you don't want to taint that
And
flavour.
to finish it off with beer seems a weird thing to
Yeah,
do,
it's
and then
strange.
maybe some deep pan pizza on the way home.
There is nothing, maybe I just don't have enough of a refined palate, but nothing to me is worth that kind of money.
Are you a foodie, though? Are you someone who seeks out kind of high-end stuff, or are you fairly straightforward in your taste?
I'm fairly straightforward. Yeah, I won't lie.
Okay,
I'm a meat potatoes kind of guy.
So a big night out for you and the missus before the jiggery pokery. When you go out, what would be a night? Do you still have a romantic date evening?
We'd start with the diggery pokery.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll
It's
go out
jiggery, not diggery.
Oh.
That's the Australian way of doing it.
I
don't want to know what you're blowing there, but I'm pleased you can reach it. I'm glad for you.
We go, where do we go? We went to an extremely fancy meal outside of San Francisco, and it was lost on us. Just, you know, the duck foam confit. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure as duck foam goes, this is fantastic. But how late is Burger King? They'll come out on different plates.
Yeah.
Like they went and shopped at completely different stores for every plate, for every dish.
So none of it matched? It wasn't from the same set?
I don't... It was just... Again, it was part of the experience. It was part of the allure. Oh, there's a square plate, and now there's a tiny square plate with an enormous dish, and a huge plate with a prawn. And it became... Really, we were trying to guess the next course, like, what size plate is this going to be on?
So,
and
Gordon,
what shape?
you're listening to all this feedback? You're going to change what you do? You must have gone a bit... There must be things you've served and you thought, oh, you know what, we were swept up in the duck foam fever there, but now that bubble's burst. I mean, there must have been things you've put on plates over the years which you regret.
I think back when I first started, when I came back from France, when I opened my first restaurant, Aubergine, back in 1993, it was the foam sort of era, but not
Everyone
now.
loved the foam. Why did people go nuts for the foam back then?
I mean, it's a weird texture, and you know, Tana eats... What is this thing? It's a mouthful of air, so it looks weird. And then after 2 or 3 minutes, when it sits there, after your partner's staring at it, it looks gross. It's like sort of toxic scum on a stagnant pool.
That's on a good
That
night.
was actually what it was called.
Presumably you don't speak Mandarin or
No,
Cantonese?
that was another question my mum asked me. And I was like, again, I probably would have spoke Mandarin before I went to the gig. It was amazing. It's the first time I've done a world tour. Like, I gigged in China. In America, I made 2 women laugh in an elevator simply with my face. I walked in, right? I walked in and there's 2 50-year-old women and they were proper, huge laughs. And I said, what are you giggling at? And this woman looked at me and went, Sugar, has anyone ever told you you look like Ellen? And honestly, you've never heard it. It was like just bouncing off the walls. I look like a charming lesbian, I didn't realise.
Yeah. Well, you've got a nice look about you. You look friendly. Did you notice there was a difference in the way fans greet you in the Asian venues you're playing at? When you were in China, for example? Was that different to the UK or America?
What was strange about the gigs in China is that I did a story ages ago. I met a young boy with cancer and I went to see him, and that clip went viral in China. So to explain the story, I met a 14-year-old boy and he was watching a clip of mine called Mr. Dildo. It was me dressed up. As a penis. And he found it very funny, and he was dying, and he was planning his own funeral, and he was really funny, he was really dark, and he was making people go to the funeral dressed in what he wanted them to wear. So he's making his dad go dressed as Death, and if somebody coughed at the funeral, his dad had to point at them. So I was kind of laughing along, and he said, would you go? And I said, of course I will. I said, what do you want me to wear? And he went, I think you know. And this kind of moment dawned on me that I was going to have to go to a child's funeral dressed as a dildo. And I went to see him subsequently. He was in a hospice, and he survived. He lived. It was an incredible story. And I said, will you let me tell this story? And I did it on stage at the O2, and I said, in fact, I want you to come on stage at the end. And he said, what do you want me to wear? And I said, I think you know. So he came out wearing this hot costume, and the whole crowd laughed, and it was beautiful. But because that clip had gone viral in China, I'm kind of walking around. I didn't know this, but people would just go, Mr. Dildo. Kind of waving at me, going, small boy penis. You're like, no.
Calgary, Alberta, that's the home of Brett the Hitman Hart.
That one I didn't get.
I didn't get.
That one I didn't get.
I didn't get that one.
That was
so no,
nice.
What do you mean you don't get it? It's just a fact. It's the home of Bret the Hitman Hart.
Okay.
If you go on Wikipedia...
Oh,
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Got it.
Bret the Hitman.
What drink I said?
He
No,
lives
it
in
sounded like you were vomiting.
a very, very large family, don't you? The Wayans, were there 10 kids?
We're
Is
not
that
even a
right?
family. Yeah, it's 10. It's not even a family no more. We're considered a population. It's,
Wow, yeah.
The Chinese are getting really scared. They're like, too many. I just want my sisters to stop reproducing. It's like, look, you guys.
It's getting even bigger.
Because you're not working, and we got to take care of them. And I'm tired.
Yeah.
At this point, I got 45 nephews and nieces.
Whoa.
Wow. You see, I'm too young for this. Y'all making me feel old. Like, we got so many kids in my family, my father got stretch marks.
But how was it growing? Because growing up, you were not an affluent family. It wasn't a well-off family. So you had a fairly poor upbringing, didn't you?
Is that English for broke as fuck? Yes.
Yeah.
That was a very proper way to go. Y'all were broke as fuck.
Yeah. And yet you all went off into these kind of stellar careers. Most of you in media, big careers. Now, where did that come from? How come your family in particular, do you think?
I think poverty, some people had, when you're in the ghetto, you have, there's a couple of things that get you out. Either you stay in school and you work hard and you become like a lawyer or like a doctor. We ain't that smart. Or you're athletic and you become a basketball player. My whole family got flat feet. Jokes was what we do. We used to look at life and go, instead of crying about like the things in our life, we always said, what's funny about it?
Yeah.
What's funny about poverty? What's funny about, funerals? We go to, because, projects, a lot of people die. So we go to funerals and be like, what's funny about this funeral? And it's just the way our sick mind works. Like, I'm serious. Like, I went to my cousin's funeral and my auntie dressed him in some jeans and some Air Force Ones in the casket. And so he's sitting in the casket like this, and me and my brothers is like, if there's a guest list in heaven, said he ain't getting in. If there's a dress code, he ain't getting in with them jeans on. St. Pete gonna be at the gate like, I'm sorry, Seti, man, you can't get in with them jeans.
Hey, now, I have a picture here of you. There's a selfie. You like taking selfies when
Yes.
you're out and about with famous people. We have some pictures, but there's this one here. Let's see the one. This was taken at a funeral, I believe. You took
Yeah,
a
that's
selfie.
my cousin's right there. That's my auntie's funeral. That was a lot of fun.
I don't know whether that's... Yeah, it looks like you're having a good time at that funeral.
Well, we have a blast at every funeral. And what's funny about that funeral is my cousin, I did like a eulogy, and my cousin, they so ghetto, they went and they sold the eulogy, the special appearances by the Wayans family. And they sold the funeral like in the streets, like a bootleg. I'm dead serious. And we made up, so me and my brothers, we made a flyer for like the after party, like Aunt Mo's death funeral. Come party it up with Aunt Mo. We're just a sick, twisted family, but it's beautiful.
Now, how was it working with Kanye on the set?
It was great. I mean, it was very surreal to have Kanye, who's such a big fan of comedy in that movie, hanging out for 2 days and hanging out.
And did he? I mean, he's just released this new video.
The motorcycle one, right? Yeah, with
honey.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Did he play you that on your new material?
Right, girlfriend. Did he was playing the new tracks from the album that had yet to be released.
So you had a first peek listen.
We had a first listen, and he was playing the tracks a lot. Yeah.
That's kind of strange.
Over and over again.
That must be tricky when you're trying to make
Even when you're trying to film.
Yeah.
Just playing the tracks. Yeah. And they're loud. They're loud too.
Whose job was it to explain to Kanye that wasn't...
A scared 18-year-old intern. Yeah.
I knew that you had a sporty background. I didn't know you were a boxer for a while. You weren't a bad boxer, were you?
No, I was really good. I always came like second.
Okay.
Third if there was a ref.
But your dad wasn't a boxer because he was in showbiz,
Well,
wasn't
he was a boxer in the army when we were younger.
When he was a kid.
Yeah. And then when I was born and all that, we were living in a doctor's surgery. Is where we were. That was our living room. And you know, people come in with flu and colds and all that sort of stuff because my dad was working over the docks at the time, and then he got into show business a bit later. You know, in the sort of late 60s,
late
70s.
60s, 70s, and he was a singer and he played instruments.
Oh, he's amazing.
So did you go to tour with him? Did you?
We toured all the time. That's what we did. I mean, that's kind of roughly what the book is about. Touring around like the working men's clubs, Manchester, Newcastle, Sheffield, Birmingham, and Liverpool.
And that must have been pretty different to you now touring and doing the
Well, you've got to be on
tour.
your guard. I mean, my mum she's a very witty woman, my mum, and I remember sat in a club, this really rough club with my mum all night. I mean, Dad used to do this impression of John Lennon, you know, and he was singing this song, I imagine there's no heaven, all this, and there's a bloke saying, he shouted out, he went, that's not like John Lennon. And my mum went, hey, stop, shut your mouth, like that. And this bloke went, who do you think you are? She went, Yoko Ono, and then piss off, you know. She's a really witty woman, you know.
Well, she was looking out for your dad as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we was kids, we had nothing. It was on this sort of council estate. We had nothing. Like, on rent day, we had to hide from the rent man. So when the rent man knocked on the window, like, you know, like, my brother was like he was like a coffee table. You know what I mean? Like, I was a lamp, do you know what I mean? My dad suddenly got down on the floor. He was like the carpet. You know, I mean, that was what we did on sort of rent day, you know, to hide from the rent man.
But your dad, this is what I like about the book, he comes across as a real character. I mean, some of the stories about him are like...
Oh, he's fantastic. He's such a great bloke.
They're all true stories, I
all
guess
true stories. I mean, like, because in those days, the clubs were so rough, you know, and there was a particular place up in Liverpool, I'm not sure if it was called the Shakespeare Club, but I remember one night, this bloke had won the pools, and he'd bought this really crap suit. It was like a yellow tartan suit, and he sat in the table with all his mates. He thought he'd treat all his mates, you know, but he kept heckling me dad. And in those days, you had like a three-piece backing group. It was like piano, bass, and drums, but the bass player on this particular night was huge. I mean, he was like this kind of fella, you know. And this bloke wouldn't stop heckling me dad. And then right at the end of me dad's act, he thought, right, I'm going to have a go at this bloke. I'm going anyway. So he said, and the bloke went, make me laugh. And my dad said, well, let's borrow your suit, you know. So this bloke really set this bloke off. And we're all sat in the dressing room. There's me, me mum, and me brother all sort of sat there. I'm only like, you know, about 5, 6, sort of sat there. But in the corner is this small, mousy woman. Just sat there all like this, like really sort of quiet, mousy woman like this. So we're all in the dressing room waiting for Dad. I can hear all this commotion. This bloke's going nuts. And me Dad comes in the dressing room, right? Right, he comes in and he slams the door and he goes, I think there's going to be trouble here. I think there's going to be trouble. And we all went, oh, no, you know. And there was a knock on the door. Like that, and my dad went, it's that bloke, it's the bloke from the audience, right? So he said, when that door opens, I'm going to lamp him one.
Yeah.
Right? So the door opened, and he went like that, and the bloke went straight past him, walked over to the small mousy woman, sat in the corner, and went, you're a slag. You're a slag and a slut, and you're an ugly whore. Like that, right? And he walked over to me dad, and he went, right, I've had a go at your wife. What do you reckon about that? And my dad went, well, it's not my wife. Right? And then this big bass player arrived at the door and he went, well, whose wife is he? He went, is.